We're going to see TSM to the night split, accelerate going up to stop, but reciprocity going to the little middle part of the map as well.
The middle plane means it's anyone's game. 16 teams, 5 games, 1 dream. Who steps up and makes that dream a reality today, and who lets it slip through their fingers like so much vapor? I can't wait to see how this starts out.
Yeah, it's a very exciting time here to find out who's going to be moving on to the Pro League for 2019. Let's head it over to our commentary team to bring you all the action from game number 11. Guys, take it away.
Rich, I'm so excited for this. There's no two ways to put it. It's the final day. We get to see who makes it to the Pro League. Me and review. I need to stop clapping. But
you're excited.
I am excited. I mean, right now we've got
okay
5 teams, essentially, who are below the cutoff point. If you want to look at it that way, maybe a little more if things get shuffled around. Gamer Legion, Tornado, Courage, Rec, and SDF. Now, all these teams could have one of those big games. All of them. We saw TSM prove it to us. But it's the last chance to do it.
It is. But I think the most glorious thing about PUBG is the fact that we're here on the final day. Interesting. It's not the best, but it's certainly not the worst circle in the world for a #1. But the most glorious thing about PUBG is, and especially the fact that we have more than the usual kind of half-slot qualifier, the fact that there's 10 spots is that it's not over until it's over. We are in the 11th game of 15, and for those teams that are down at the bottom, there's still a chance. It's going to be rough. It's going to be hard. They're going to have to perform now, but there's still a chance.
Some people like it rough and hard, Rich. I will not kink shame them. The point is that we saw the Method almost did it, to a degree, right? We looked at the game they played in the group stage, and they suddenly turned up on that final game. It wasn't enough to push them in, but you could see the difference when there's a fire burning kind of beneath a team. I want to see, I want to see teams now doing this. I'm looking at the teams who are not within that position currently, who are not within the top 10, have to turn up. I don't want passive games. I want proactive plays. I want them to try it, because right now the way they've been playing up to this point has not secured them a good enough spot. So you have to adjust. You can't just do the infamous, we'll just play our game. Doesn't work anymore. You've got to play beyond that.
I think Rafi's going to be gifted a Kar 98 and an AKM if it does go up on the roof. So let's focus on a bit of a team here. We are on screen with them, Lawrence. Let's talk a little bit about Rec. Yesterday was an absolute shambolic disaster. It was. I don't want to just start blaming them wholeheartedly. Okay, there's obviously problems with what happened yesterday, but I mean that last game was completely. There was definitely ounces of who the frig gets ram raided inside
See, this is
a
the thing.
compound?
If you think about it, Team Rec and TSM both went for very similar compounds at very similar times.
Yeah.
Literally a road apart in the southern side, just I guess north of Milta.
Yep.
Now TSM won that game and Rec died first. It's sometimes how it goes. They did get their compound crashed by Courage, I think it was. They lost 2 very early, and then they were just completely disbarred from everything they had.
And bigger picture to that, when you speak in that kind of as a strategy point of view, those teams are very close together at the leaderboard at that time. If you can not only A, get a ton of kills, which they did for TSM, B, they won it, but C, most importantly, they knocked out a potential rival that was also gunning for one of those lower spots, I want to say. They're definitely not going to come first, second, third. I mean, hell, it would mean everybody in that top bunch would have to completely bail out here with no kills, and everyone else down below would have to do well. But certainly, when we're looking at kind of the scoreboard, I mean, what a difference, not a day makes, but quite simply one game can make. TSM, if it was all said and done and we'd ended yesterday on that final game, TSM would have just made Pro League. But it's not. There's still 5 left, and anything goes.
It certainly does. I am looking across the board to see what people are up to. It feels as though people have found their spots they're going to. No one is really switching at this point. There is no incentive to hot drop just as of yet. There really isn't. You don't know who's going to go where. That could be in the final rounds, potentially. I mean, if we see it, we'll call it. For now, not to be. Everyone's in their positions. We're seeing early scouting beginning from a couple of players. Not too much, though. You may look at Courage potentially for that. You've got Zoom heading out from Pachinki. Obviously, that's been left absent. And Zoom might have spotted that. Don't know if he did. Obviously, first person, you don't necessarily see all of it, which is always obnoxious when you look back and you're like, could have had myself a nice level 3.
It's a bit of a night and day comparison for Erangel from what we saw in qualifiers. They were
where is that
absolutely trashing on people during the pre-quals, but this time it just seems to, I don't know, it feels like M19 have took everything that were going well from Erangel, their energy, and just absorbed it, because yesterday they were moving in potentially the best movement we've seen so far in the finals, there was a locked 4, there was a unit, they were creeping, they were peeping, they were getting the kills, they were doing everything that needed to be done right to get the job done. So M19 certainly on fire, but every single day is different. That might change today. I wouldn't expect it to. They might as well play the game because it was going well. We say playing the usual game. Probably around game 2 to 3, everyone is going to start playing a very unusual game, an unorthodox PUBG. There'll be nothing left for them. It's do or die, as simple as that. You might see some hot drops.
Maybe.
You might see some potential, you know, not necessarily bridge camping, but choke point camping, waiting for these people to rotate. Coaches in the back and professional coaches and professional players know exactly how teams move. They know how they're going to rotate. They know where they're going to be dropping, where they're going to be going, how they're going to be moving, and the bigger picture of all the main roads, because you might say all the roads lead to Pro League. When it comes to the circle, generally speaking, the bigger roads are what are going to be the areas to try and pick up these easy 16-point kills here and there.
Yeah, and we are seeing the first couple of kills, and that's actually quite big. SDF are currently not within the Pro League spots, so them losing out on Sezco early could be a warning sign. And Rec are actually kind of in between M19. You're seeing a bit of Courage up there. You're seeing kind of a lot of the teams below the bar right now, potentially clashing. SDF needs to be careful. They do have Steph pulled up, so they're already in position. Rec did like to take the petrol station before, and Constantine got a gift that on a plate. That's a lovely little pickup. Just pulls right up to you. It's like, hello, your delivery of loot is here.
I think the most scariest point for this is that you've got Accelerate, who have been battering everybody so far this week. They've been gifted circle number 1. They're already up the top.
They don't need help.
They can just chill, get themselves back together. I suppose they'll be pressured a little bit early because they know that everyone's going to start rotating for this top circle. M19
have lost out on another.
Still on to SDF. That's 32 points for M19. And an unfortunate 2 players down already in the very early stage of the game. Only 7 minutes for Rafi. That's the K98 that was on the roof.
This is okay. This is quite interesting. Again, if you are a fan out there of some of the teams who are currently outside of that top 10, seeing Courage and SDF getting pressured early bodes well for the other teams because they're the ones down towards the bottom side of things. You want to then look at the gatekeepers of that top 10, which will be Team Ready, a Vanguard, kind of TSM now, Sauna Boys around that mark as well, up and down, obviously. They're the ones that if they go down early, this creates space, it creates room. But that's yet to happen. Still 16 teams up, 61 players, and not every team's even started their rotations yet. A lot of teams are trying to get central and get those better compounds now.
It's going to make it quite dangerous for the later stages of this circle, for the simple fact that we do have a lot of people still outside of the white. They might be playing edge. Certainly the centre of this one will be very dense. You can already see TSM are going on a very western flank. They may take the northern roads, the coastal roads. You do have some nice little compounds around there. You got a couple of garages. It'll give them a good amount of movement. You can see they've already got vehicles, so they're opting to go away from the rest of the pack because they know that the centre of the circle will be very dense. But when rotation time comes up,
look at that, Rich.
This is what I mean, because you've obviously got water up top in the north. The edge down south and the western, maybe even potentially the eastern coastline if TR, Penta and Avanga go that way. It'll be difficult to rotate if the circle shifts towards the south. They'd have to ask for a level of prayers when it comes to potentially grabbing some water. D-Mash might get finished off. Macandax secures that one. Obviously, when you are shooting people in cars, you can tell when you get a tag just due to the blood. Confirms it with the minute. Okay, also taking a few bullets of his own. We almost see GL come back a second one. Looks like Nuki will get out of dodge.
Game Legion need the kills too. They're looking to bank points. They're one of the teams certainly within that cut-off point.
Nasty little roster that as well.
They're a dangerous bunch. I think we haven't seen the best of them since we've made it through to the kind of final stages here. They certainly have more to bring to the plate, and we might see it today. That's the thing. We might see it turn up. Raise Your Edge, another team on rotation currently and towards the north side of things. Doing kind of the, I guess, mirrored of TSM to a degree. You both have the north side of things quite sparse because everyone else in the north early did get the prime positions. Now, you can see Joker's on rotation. That's Tiksu just taking a couple of shots there from the Sauna Boys. That's over by Northern Georgia Pole. They kind of took a little bit of a stop by the bridge. There was a lot of rotations that way. Worthwhile to invest maybe a little bit of time to see if anyone was there. There wasn't really for them to pick up.
Let's see what's actually kind of free then. Maybe Raise Your Edge takes Severny. It is inside the circle, and you could be getting circle 2 as well. It's completely empty, so they might scout that out and potentially go that way. They have to be very careful because there's 2 teams that are also rotating in the same manner. You're going to have Jokers and you're going to have the Sauna Boys. The Sauna Boys will be watching Jokers kind of lead that way, so I'd expect them move more towards an easterly direction, ahead just above shooting range, and hang around the like the hillside, so to speak, where you're looking down, so they get a lot of views. Red Diamonds, they're going to be lurking in the mist just above Rozhok, kind of sticking it around those compounds that give them a lot of views. Avanga have gone for probably the weirdest and longest rotation ever. They've, rather than opt to go up past shelter
They
and
go
directly.
Miramar style.
Yeah, they're taking this long. They're going to play in the blue, and they'll come in around the eastern bank, maybe just above Lipovka.
I would say, though, the one benefit of this circle, that western side of StarLadder, I know you guys play Erangel, I don't need to explain that to you, but there's a lot of cover on that hillside, just purely because the topography. If you look at the way the map's kind of shown, you can see it. There's a lot of banks, a lot of cliffs, a lot of rocks that you can play off that have a lot of room available for plenty of teams. So right now you're seeing Accelerate up there, but that could house plenty more. M19 have a couple of players up there too. They're going 2-2 split with the western side of Yas9. You're seeing Wanderer still down here, putting a little bit of pressure towards Penta. But Penta, relatively safe, in cover, don't need to overextend. Could get punished if they do.
Yeah, as soon as we jumped over on the camera, I saw the smoke, which obviously then suggests that they are, you're not going to waste utility for no reason whatsoever, so it suggests that they were in an engagement. Obviously, if the players won't know this, but the more your big teams like that, Penta and M19 get into it, the easier it becomes. Circle, she stays in the northern area. TSM, they're not laying around. I kind of like that. They'll probably go and crash the large compound. It's a bigger one. It's not a city. It's a larger one that's directly in front of them. They'll shift over to the west, but they might have a fight on their hands if Raise Your Edge do fans taking it. They've got a compound themselves. They might do the 2-2 split. It's only a small set of houses, whereas the one that it looks like TSM might go for, there's a lot of vision up those open hills. There's not many trees.
The garage? Is that? I'm pretty sure that's just the garage where Raise Your Edge.
I think there's a small little block of houses. It's not as big as the one that TSM have gone for. Or I could be completely wrong. It might actually be the garage, but I think it's just a really tiny block.
Yeah, and you can see a 2-2. I like it. Fast Rail and Co. going to be sat down in that little bit of a dip that runs around the eastern side of Severny. Mirrored play kind of from TSM and Raise Your Edge, just holding that northern side. We are seeing Courage on a bit of a wild rotation. You've got to be careful. A lot of eyes turn towards it. Vanguard still en route. They are just coming out of the blue. That's the teams we are watching. And here's the Sauna boys adjusting towards that tiny little compound that always seems to get you some nice little additional loot when you leave Severny.
I hate dropping here first. It's one of those where it's like, oh, balls. There's so many people in Severny. I've messed up. I'll go get a vehicle. Not when you drop off first because you know you've just been beat to 7. There's a full team in there. You're like, well, I've got a handgun. What do I do now?
Just batter him, Rich.
Please send me some help.
Let's keep eyes on where the potential fights currently are.
Just as a side note, Gustav is taking a bit of a wander. He's opting to go back to TSM. He tried to extend and get a level of sight, but Raise Your Edge give him a warning shot. They're in the 2-2 split, so they're holding from Severny. All that northern coastline is pretty much taken now. There is probably one last compound just on the edge of the white, which Avanga might coming onto. Tornado, I must say a lot of the CIS teams, we always see them up on this western side and eastern side, and this kind of goes off where they loot and how they like to go. And again, talking bigger picture of how teams will learn
VSS, wonderful.
how they prefer the rotation.
I love a VSS. I still think that gun is so underrated.
Inside a little hangar like that, you're not going to have a clue where the friggin' bullets are coming from.
You can pop off shots so far on that thing. It is still like low damage,
Remember those
obviously.
old potato guns where you used to punch them in and
But the thing is, like, you can see the bullet drop so easy, like,
Yeah.
and it's suppressed, and it has
Like a
basically
laser.
a free 4 times on it. It's pretty sick, like, for what it is. Like, people underestimate that gun. I still think it's pretty good fun. Anyway, Circle moving in. Everyone's going to be kind of okay. I guess Gamer Legion and potentially Penta could have a little bit of a scuffle, but everyone's still okay. And anyone in a 2-2 split right now is not greedy. I don't want to say greedy, but they're taking a lot of room. Raise Your Edge, a nice 2-2 split, complementary of each other's positions. I'm wondering if TSM and a Vanguard potentially have a bit of a clash. And I do worry for TSM. I hope they don't just become passive now that they had that win under their belt with the kills. I want to still see them being proactive in this. Don't just sit there and be be happy with what you got given there. You've got to keep pushing.
I honestly think if that were going to be the case, they would have stayed where they were, which they didn't. They still, because essentially they'll still be in the white now, right? You know, the circle was kind of not gifted to them, but it went their way, and they still move forward. So potentially, I don't think they'll be doing that. An Octave, obviously now just playing on the edge, be looking further afield, saying, okay, these compounds are taken, such and so off, and giving all his information back to his team. They'll be reading this one well. Interestingly, pretty much the lower half of Stalba and all that surrounding area is completely open. You do have TR and Accelerate Gaming that potentially may clash anytime soon because they're about 200 to 300 meters of each other. Team ready. are on. There's like, as you move away from TSM, a lot of pro players will know it, but you go up from you go more towards the southern edge on a little dirt track road, and you hit this defilade where you can really crouch in because there's a really nice hill line and a ridge that you can stick some vehicles in. So they're in there, and Accelerator just above them playing off the hillside. The Jokers will be just kind of going for a land grab. I mean, the Tab at the moment, he's on his own, which is fine because if he goes down, they'll be able to at least not lose the entirety of the team. The rest of his team are going to be in Severny.
Who's in that old M19 compound? Sorry, just...
What are you looking for?
Alpachinki.
Okay.
All right, crack on.
Again, with them being split, I think that's pretty good because that gives them more leverage of where the circle goes, especially the compound being so big. If it does go that way, their 2 players can flood up, get inside, bomb in with the vehicles, keep them fresh, keep them going. Gamers Legion, they're going for a crash.
Well, let's see how well that works out for them. They are on the way. You're going to have some of the Jokers there. Raise Your Edge could have vision on this as well. Again, they could get pinched. There is a little bit of cover to play with. And with the Jokers split with Tabbed in the northeast, we're currently looking at Team Ready, but you can see it there happening towards Severny. Gamer Legion put
Penta.
all their 4 players towards it. Penta are not far from this either. They're putting Braxico in there, and it's gone north. This is a big shift. This is where Raise Your Edge have great position. TSM could be okay. Anyone towards Severny is loving it, and Braxico did get found. We theorized that could be the case if he wasn't expecting players here, but Jokers are quite split, so there's danger in the fact that you might not get that sort of tradable kills, and we will see Raise Your Edge consolidating to a degree. They want to find better ground for this 2-2. Accelerate are on the move as well. SDF are coming into this. That's a replay of Kemba finding it, but now Accelerate have 2 players on the run. Mikas and Squeaky trying to find a bit of cover to play with.
Yep, Severny will be the last chance saloon, and potentially we might have a set finish. We'll see how it all plays out. Gamer Legion, they've taken what I like to call the ball, just on the edge of Severny. You can get hit in the back, which is pretty good, especially if you've got the vehicles, a really nice ridgeline. You can take the front house of Severny if you want to fight that battle. TSM, they're going to stay where they are. Hopefully the circle goes their way, but again, the rotations now, because there's no many compounds outside of Severny, and it's all about these ditches and defilades, people will just be dying, looking for a place to call home. There's really nowhere else to set up.
There isn't a great deal here. This is the scary part because that water still plays a huge factor, obviously. That's half of... Oh, not half. Oh, oh no. That's awful. Oh, M19 have just lost out on 2. They're in the middle of the open. No one's saving them, and it's who can steal the kills. Gamer Legion going to be gifted that on a plate, and they are loving it. Penta and Accelerate in a bit of a scrap towards Severny. That can house plenty of teams, but you don't want to be sharing between these 2 big boys in the fight. Rust and Mar cooks an aid, trips in, doesn't quite make it. Chris stays alive.
Erangel, it's time for them to move. They have to go between 1, 2, 3 teams. Keep an eye on that kill feed. Maxi, he's got an eye on the prize. TSM and TR can see him. And he'll also be hitting Hawaii as well, so make sure you just keep an eye.
Where's Maxi going to go? Can he go coastline, I guess?
I mean, they could ditch it into the water. It breaks off a little bit, so you can run the vehicles and potentially... I mean, he does one or two things. He either hits the water and stays alive on the banking of the beach, or he takes attention for the rest of his team to move, but this is messy.
Maxi is just... I don't know how he's alive. I do not know how Maxi is alive at the moment. The rest of the team are running the same route. He's looking for available places. I can imagine there really isn't much. Vanguard hit the deck! And they lose out to the vehicle in the end. So many shots coming their way, and Vanguard just find the, I guess, second on the coast, but they're very close to the 2-2 split from Accelerate. Maxi's still looking for any available options, but Vanguard have found Mikas. Maybe Accelerate did not expect anyone to roll up on them, and the nade is very good. Confirms what was started, and Squeaky alone in the smoke.
Squeaky by name, Squeaky bumped out by nature. He's got a little bit of smoke to play with, and that's about it. The nades are coming up and over. If it hits the vehicle, it will bounce. He's running into it, though. Oof. Forced back out. They know exactly where he is. They've already taken 1. Bestalot goes down. They were on the rotation as well. They've unfortunately had to hit the beachhead. The rest of Red Diamonds are going to sit uphill. Rec have got a really nice place while all this has been going on. Nobody found where they went as they entered Severny, and all of a sudden Squeaky's down as well. 2 members of Accelerate back to back. Melman also. TR in the midst of all of this is just racking up.
Look at this.
Erangel losing more players.
Oh, they didn't expect the peak, though. This is big. These are teams who are kind of holding the line of who qualifies and who doesn't. Team Ready had a big couple of performances but fell off a touch, and now they're trying to recover. Clearly, Nade comes in, and the rest of the Tornado players just watch their teammates get completely shattered. Mer, desperate for the heal off. I don't know if he's going to get it in time. He might have just about pushed himself up. He has, but they've still got a long way to run, and Tornado are in their way. 6mo, and I'm pretty sure that's Ira with him, will need to help them out here to allow that rotation from a beautiful death to get into this one, but Raise Your Edge are putting down fire, TSM are putting down fire. That eastern side is not easy.
Where's this circle going to go? Wanderer, that's the 3rd one down now for M19. They've only got 1 player up and kicking. Nade goes around. Yep, that's confirmed it. One last player alive for M19. They're currently, I believe, in around the 6th mark. So they're going to be struggling. Accelerate also down to 1 of Anger 2. Everyone just getting battered on this rotation again. This, Circle though. She's coming in. She's moved completely away from water. But most importantly, she's taken out Severny, which this just becomes a complete field battle because all the head of the compounds, Lauren, they're already filled and taken.
The remainder of Tornado is just trying to stim their way through the blue. I don't think they're going to get away with it. It's who picks up the kill. It will be Alpachinki. So they get to find Compot in the end, and Tornado do have a rough finish. They're one of the teams looking for good points and good placement here, as they're currently outside that top 10. I'm now looking at the teams in Severny. How do they play this? Do they wait for that blue, play the last-minute game, hope others get the attention, or do they try and find placement early? The problem is there isn't much. Unless they have vehicles to go all the way around east, potentially, which is still a bit of a gauntlet run. I think Rafi might be doing that. I don't know. We need to keep eyes on how they adjust coming into this. Team Ready are trying to move their way down towards slightly further south, towards Courage, to get away from TSM's fire and Raise Your Edge's fire.
Rec will know that they'll have one team playing the ball just outside of Severny, which is where Gamer Legion is. They'll probably try and take the edge of Severny, get a line of sight, go up into the buildings, and maybe try and bomb them out from there, throw the grenades. Meanwhile, in the bath. Example. I know you fancy a
He's
wash,
surrounded
mate,
as well.
You got to chill. Look, this is
they don't know he's there.
Rec are trying to see that team just over the lip, over the ridge line, and that's where Gamer Legion's going to be. They can just hold them. They don't have to move. They're in the circle. Rec need to make sure Gamer Legion dies. I don't think there's any chance of really a potential wide flank on this one if you want to run it in the vehicles, because the main head of the compounds are already going to be taken. You could play the little defilades that are kicking around in the tree lines, but it's going to be difficult.
The big factor for Rec here as well, no one's behind them. So even if they want to play it slowly, which is, they don't know this obviously, but the good thing for them is that with no one behind them, they can take their time on the push up here. No one's going to kind of pinch on the back lines. You could have potentially Red Diamonds doing it, but that 2-2 split doesn't seem as though it will. That's a nade!
That's an opener.
This could be the push point. I wonder if they're going to go for it, if they're going to try and smoke their way in.
Yep.
Example could ruin this though. He's heard all of this going off. He stands up and just sprays down 3. Rec are done for.
Here's the push, Lauren.
And here is the push. Shiv,
no.
counter nade comes in, slows them down. Sick work from Timber. That's going to slow down Rec so much. Counter nade comes back in. They're laying it down as thick as they can. The nade's going a little too deep though. Smoke goes in. Again, the nade whizzes past. Gamer Legion are back up with all players standing as best they can. They hold the line, and Scoom, barrel to hand, maybe fancies his odds as they get the revive on. Shiv is back up. Now Haxeti and Scoom prepare themselves. Nade again. Shiv's going to go down again. He can't do anything about it. He's been done for. Haxeti needs to deny this. He needs to hold back Gamer Legion, but he can't do it. Gamer Legion are destroying Rec.
Yeah, I mean, the idea was there and they needed to do it. They managed to get to the tree line at least. The saving grace is that
Third
2 made it. Yeah,
Jokers.
This is where they're coming now. Rafi's up in the, kind of on the bell tower side of the level 3 building. He might be able to get a snipe. He does have, I think it was a Kar 98, so he's trying to look for a pick here. He's smoking out himself, so he'll be able to run, but he has to be careful of A, Example, and B, Penta. If they get an eyeline on this is free kills.
Example won't move until the blue is literally forcing him forward. The nade trade is still happening. Hamster went to the dead body of his teammate to try and find one. Shiv is under pressure. You can see those nades. Sorta Boys have found their little slice of heaven for now. There is potential for Courage to get some fire towards them, but that's not the big fight here. Penta are now on the move. A Vanguard open up towards them. Chris going down is big. He's one of their star power players. Count goes down. This is huge. This is actually really big losses for Penta.
And most importantly, this stops any third partying for Rec. If Penta are getting hit from the back, that means Rec are actually safe on this ridge line. It's all going well so far. It was a great play to be able to smoke and then run that initial knock, opened it up, and they took advantage. Okay, they lost one player. They traded it out. But it was the perfect play. Get the knock and then advance on this one. The difficulty is, once again, they're still being held on the edge of the blue. An Example has to come out, Lauren.
Look, he's got the candles on. He's got the lavender in there. He's having a sick time. He doesn't want to move. He's got the bath bomb on the go. Speaking of bombs, that one just landed. Iroh catching down Courage. This rotation from Team Ready has worked out. They're up in the northeast, and surely that is going to confirm what they started. Kofest has watched his teammates get slaughtered. TSM are now in the predicament, though. They need to work off the eastern bank, and they held their position a very long time. They didn't try and centralize, and now they have to get through Raise Your Edge. And bear in mind, the west is still a bloodbath.
And the difficulty doing that, Lauren, is the fact that Raise Your Edge have continued to stick in a 2-2 play. So you'll hold the back lines with the compound, and you'll send Maverick and Fast Rail up close and personal on the edge to play border control. That, oh my God. How? Another breath, and Snoopy's dead. stays alive. Trefeli's
Accelerate just
down.
went down in
Accelerating
15.
15. So that opens it up for the top of the board, but we're not playing for money. We're playing for placement. Remember, your top 10 do advance. TSM, it's go time. They're splitting 3 vehicles amongst them. But where do they go, Lauren? That's the bigger question, and that's the bigger player.
It certainly is. We'll find out. Keep our eyes on it. Raise Your Edge, you're going to see this. Team Ready are on the move.
Raise Your Edge are playing border. They're
Lodge.
moving into it. Raise Your Edge are chasing TSM.
We've got to see this. How far does TSM get? Keep your eyes on the kill feed here. You can see Joker's finding a Vanguard. That's back and forth sort of play. Raise Your Edge are, in the meantime, looking for something. They found Gustav. They pinned him out. But Raise Your Edge are still holding this one. Rafi's just gone down. He went too far to the north.
Third party. That's the third party coming in. Penta have clearly seen that because they're playing the back of Severnian. There's nowhere real to go. Avanga. 14th, another rough placement for a team that's looking for a high one here. TSM, they've made it in. All the rest of Raise Your Edge have now almost come in.
That's a norm. Fast Rail's looking a little bit scary here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that could be big. Let's see what Fast Rail can do. Wookie Bookie's out in the open, and that is the last thing you want to be doing. Good nade comes in, bounces a little behind him. Oh, Wookie Bookie! Don't run towards it. He got called out, and now there is trouble afoot. Raise Your Edge are starting to become better at this later gameplay. They might fancy their odds, but do you want to give up that hillside? SDF goes down, another team who needed better placements, and that is no good for them. Fast Rail's nade confirms what he started, and now the Sauna boys are on the move as well. Example has to move out. This could be the downfall of Breck. Keep your eyes on that one. Does he get found? Example's found Rafi. He confirms it too, but now the blue hurts too much. He got turned on in the end, but they did lose out on one in the meantime. TSM are still in the fight here. Team Ready are suffering. M19 just went down.
They did, and so did
Penta.
We just lost 3 teams. TSM pushed aggressively onto TR and battered them, so there's now nobody behind apart from one team that's directly in front of them.
That's big play.
It is. Committing so many teams like that has just jumped all these teams in placement.
Did he get spotted? Did Outplay see this? Sure. I don't know if he did. Kofest is in trouble. He has to do something here. The Blues picking. He's only got 1 HP. It's a trade out in the end, and that's Courage going down. We're losing a lot of the names here who needed performances. That southwest side, Richard, and the west side, you've got 3 teams locking each other in here. Jokers could third party onto Gamer Legion. Rec only have 2 players left standing. The Sauna boys are keeping out the red diamonds. Alpachinki is safe, and TSM and Raise Your Edge could clash to the northeast.
We've still got this weird stalemate going on between Rec and Gamer Legion. Gamer Legion know for a fact they have the numbers advantage. TSM, Rory's getting a little bit aggressive. He wants to play border control and give Hawaii a taste of their own medicine, which I like, but he is a one-man band versus 4. If Fast Rail even dinks him from the back, Fast Rail's holding the angle from a line of sight, there is no way they can get Rory back up. TSM are kind of in no man's land here.
The problem is that TSM are being surrounded. They don't have enough of a split towards the east or the west. Obviously, the eastern side will have the blue on it. The west, though, you can see Cup of Magic pushing forward on this one. This is really good play from Raise Your Edge of being proactive in this.
Shiv got the kill.
Shiv did find the kill on Bjorn. This is Gamer Legion looking like they're in trouble here. They're down to Timber alive on that western side. But you can see Raise Your Edge splitting well here. They're very much trying to encompass TSM, but TSM do have good hard cover.
Back to back, Lauren. Joker's also got a knock there. Bjorn went down, so Rec might be gifted an avenue here to get inside. Fast Rail,
no, they're done.
8th place. Okay, third party, 2 teams holding them back. Rec, they're up in the top 8, but it's not good enough. They need higher placements and they need big numbers. GL go down straight afterwards. Back to back, we lose 2 teams just like that. And then the fight now turns.
Fast Rail. Fast Rail was meant to be the can opener, right? To get him back into this, to try and pry open that hold from TSM, but he overextended slightly and just got outdone. Rory did go down in the meantime, so the trade is there. And with Raise Your Edge having better numbers currently, this plays well for them. Turtle and Gustav have to really step up to the play here. They have to find a big performance because Rory cannot be saved currently.
Jokers have caused 2 teams back-to-back problems by third partying. They also have eyes on Raise Your Edge, so if Kemba gets a knock on one of the Hawaii members, TSM might be able to advance onto this one. Rory is crawling back to his teammates, see if they can get some kind of res off on this. The dink will push him back for now. That gives him a little bit of breathing room, but we'll see how further it goes. Red Diamonds. Jokers have just taken out 4 teams.
Yeah, Jokers are playing really well. They had such a good position on the circle. They had 2-3 teams in front of them. Rory has gone down. That's unrevivable. He is dead as you like. Fast Rail back up. Orm still in play. I think that's an 8 on that as well.
It is.
So he's going to become a little bit scary late game, and I haven't seen him popping off. I haven't heard too many of those shots, so surely he's got a bit of ammo. Joker's now looking at it. Raise Your Edge. Need to be careful to not overextend. They don't have a great deal of cover to work with.
I mean, overextending is one thing, but sitting back and being held by 2 teams is another. They could literally be picked apart by both TSM and Jokers here. Third partying is a very real thing. circle not too far for them. But if they decide to move into it, two teams have a full eye line on them. Oh,
they need to push one or the other sides, right? Razor Edge need to just push one side, and I think they've chosen that. That's good. You might lose the fight, but that's the best option they have. They can't just sit here and wait, because now Alpachinki have eyes on them too. Jokers, is that the fight you want? You don't know it yet, but Fast Row gets found. He has been just a bullet sponge at the moment. Wanted now under pressure, hits the deck, sprays in, and I see a ghillie suit as well on the Jokers, so they are well geared, to say the least.
That's going to be level 3s in abundance for at least one player. The arm is gone. That takes it out of play. Wanted also falling, and this is the thing. Sitting back, unfortunately, hasn't helped. They've been trapped between the blue and the white. And as they've stepped up to the plate, just TSM's presence alone has held RYE there and allowed the Jokers to just completely collapse upon them.
But have they overpushed here? The Jokers overpushed on this. Now you can see the third party from Alpachinki, who are the ones initially pinning down Razor Edge. And maybe Razor Edge were banking on that third party to keep them safe. Senya has to take a lower line, but he's not doing well enough out of that. Kemba's the one to find Cup of Magic, and that is surely going to be enough of Razor Edge. They're down to one man. They can't do much more anymore. They have to just play it smart and play it slow. The Sauna Boys are encroaching towards Alpachinki, though. That's the next potential fight. Tiksu eyeing this one up. The slow move from Maverick. He is not in a rush at all, but Set turns around and finds him.
Finds not a second one. Jorski at least answers back. We are watching this fight on the map and also in the kill feeds. Keep your eyes on the prize. I believe it's only Jorski, last man standing, to try and hold the Sauna Boys on and keep them moving up in placement.
Cover here.
TSM, though, might be gifted a kill here. Jorski still going.
Jorski, you absolute beast!
He's getting points.
He's doing this. He's making this so hard for Alpachinki. They were meant to be able to easily rotate towards the likes of TSM, take good positioning.
TSM can now see Alpachinki through all of this. He's pushed them out into him.
He certainly has, but the smokes are up. How much can they see? Bleed out towards some of the players. Senya has found Maverick, so that will mean we are into the top 4 positions now.
And it's all on one side of the circle. Gustav goes down. The Jokers, they're continuing the push along the ridgeline. It's actually a 15 times on the back of the SKS. Gustav's found 7 individuals total. I think you just hide in your shell, buddy, and hope for the best. See if Alpachinki will turn onto the Jokers. They know the team's not gone down yet. They see him.
Top 4's not bad.
Oh, it's pretty good. Couple of kills as well in the bag, so they'll rack up some points from that.
But look at the kills on this team. 16! That's nuts. Like, the Jokers have been going
It's more
off.
of scaly how many teams they've broken apart and taken out the competition.
Keep in mind, Jorski can still be such a pain in the ass here, because the Jokers and Alpachinki are going to battle it out, right? They're the big team you see, and if that card goes up, that could be a big pickup here. And the Jokers have so much to play with, but there's so little cover. This is going to be such a brawl when it comes to it. Oh, and Kemba's found him as well. Dream for you, going to be terrified of this, has to take down the car, and Joker's proactive, instantly putting Tab into the middle of the circle and pushing up on this. They know that this could be the remaining team. They don't know that Jorski is still out there somewhere.
Jorski sees him. It could put a spanner in the works. He's just playing and holding on for the placement, which, when you're in a 1 versus 3 versus 1, I kind of respect it and understand it.
Made. Blue, though, it's time to go. Jorski could somehow sneak his way in here still. He doesn't have much in front of him. That's the issue. There is no cover to go to. The blue is about to start moving as well. It's time to move. Dream for you, you gotta go. Senya's holding this one down, but 3 angles. Top 2 teams now. Alpachinki goes down in the end. Jokers have done this. Jorski, what can you do here? Not many kills for the Sauna Boys. He can be a pain in the ass, but he has 3 players to take down. He only has a couple of clips as well to play with, a couple of bandages. He's been broken and beaten. That level 1 ain't going to get you out of much here. Senya's on the play as well. Tab's looking. It's all going to happen now. He can't do it in the end. And it's the Jokers with a huge game. 19 kills.
Team after team after team after team falls to the hands of the Jokers as they just play border control, run the edge, and run rings around teams just trying to stay back, trying to play passive. I mean, I can fully understand it because there isn't too much in that center circle really to play off the back of if you want to run into it. I mean, you saw exactly what happened to Raise Your Edge. They were so scared of what they were so scared of what was happening on the side of TSM. They didn't really know what to do. They held back. They sat there, and unfortunately, it ended up being their downfall. Yep. TSM with a 4th, AP with a 3rd. Raise Your Edge making you top 5.
Okay, this gets interesting. It's more the couple of teams who went down very early as well. We lost out some big names very quickly in this. If you want to look at the likes of Courage and Rec, that's not the performance they wanted. Gamer Legion as well, all finishing kind of around each other. They're the teams who are currently outside of their positions that would have wanted to push up slightly. You've got, I feel slightly for Rec. They did get caught in that kind of 3-team crunch. You did have Gamer Legion in front, and then you had the Jokers, who certainly did not need any additional help in just